Say your.
Bing bong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I'm gonna talk about real quick, and I know I try to stay away from like pop culture and things like that that's going on, but I just feel like I would be remiss in my hosting duties if I don't talk about it. And I think Angel was just learning about it when we were talking about it just now. So my man Dave Chappelle was getting a lot of heat for this last stand-up he did, basically from the LGBTQ plus community. It's just not a good time right now. Like the reviews aren't really positive. Now, I'm gonna keep it a stack, and Ben might direct his anger and switch it from the pedestrians and car drivers in New York City over to me. But I'm not gonna front. Like Dave Chappelle was like never in like my top 5 or whatever. I'm not saying he's not funny. He's just not my kind of funny. Like the show, like the Chappelle show, like the certain skits I thought were fucking hilarious. But for me to sit through an episode and kind of have to wait for some real funny shit, it just took too long, and I just didn't really watch it like that. The same thing with like Saturday Night Live. Like Saturday Night Live is so hit or miss, and most of it is miss. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna sit through a whole episode. I'm gonna just watch. See, I post a clip and I'm gonna watch it, and then if it's funny, I'm gonna keep watching it. But Dave Chappelle never really was like that funny to me. But his last stand-up, I'm not gonna hold you. His last few of them were pretty fucking funny, and the shit that he was saying, ultimately, and we'll all decipher this individually because I believe we all saw it. But what I took from what he was saying, I don't think he had a problem with the alphabet community. I don't think he had a problem with you being who you are, with you loving who you love and finding attractive who you find attractive. I don't think that was the issue. I think, to put it bluntly, I think what my man was really trying to say, at least how I interpreted it, was that I just think it's really interesting how the alphabet community is more protected than the Black community.
Sure.
I think that's what I took from that. How somebody can get fired, John Gruden, when they start attacking the alphabet community before they get fired for attacking the Black community. So that's the shit he was really trying to get after. I'm not coming at the alphabet community. I'm not coming at anybody because they're gay, trans, anything. Like, I respect that. Do you have fun with who you have fun with? I'm not trying to get in the way of that. I think the issue lies with if the gay man over there is getting discriminated against, people are going to be more outraged that he's getting discriminated against versus that Black man over there. That's the fucking problem right there.
And also that there was another thing that he brought up too, is that there's a lack of inclusivity in that community for the people of color that identify as somebody that's lesbian, gay, trans. There's a lack of community for the people of color. So when they say, when it comes to like protecting the LGBTQ, they often it seems like they're like the people of color that are a part of that, they are often not thought of. It always comes down to the white person that happens to be gay or trans or whatever. That's who people think about. But when it comes to a Black gay person or a Hispanic trans individual, they're still not even getting the same protections as their white counterparts. So there's also that aspect of it that he even brought up in the beginning of it, but he knew that no matter what he said, it was going to come out. They were going to take it as he was
what they wanted to take it as,
and that's where the issue lies.
He called it.
Yeah, they
for sure.
Yeah, he called it, and that's exactly how he said it was going to happen. It happened. They completely disregarded everything else. The conversation that was supposed to be had, that has always needed to be had, even back when the feminist movement first started with Susan B. Anthony and the other breasted and white bitches. Like, they completely disregarded the black women. They don't count them. They didn't count them as women when it came to that. And it was always that lack of inclusivity within those marginalized groups. That's what the issue that he's always had. but they take it as, oh, he's quote unquote punching down on them or whatever the fuck that. But it's not even like that. And I swear, if this person next to me keeps inching up, I'm gonna hit their car.
Nah,
So,
yo, you know what I was also gonna say? like I feel, no lie, I agree completely with both of y'all. Like, even to go to piggyback off of what you said, Willie, like, no lie, at the end of the day, the whole entire like show from beginning to end, and a lot of people fail to like really capture this, right? Because sometimes you're watching something and it may be an hour long, and at the end of it, you don't remember the first 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So people really tend to forget like what the whole show is unless you watch it over and over again. But the whole time, even at the end, when he really finished the whole thing, he was telling people like, I've never, ever in my life been against this community, ever. You know what I'm saying? Ever. Like, I want y'all to realize that I've been laughing, but I've been wanting to laugh with y'all, not at y'all. And all the jokes that I make, like even back then, right? When he ever mentioned it, like he made a joke saying that about Bruce Jenner, right? When is it Bruce Jenner or
Caitlyn?
What? Caitlyn, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So when like they did the whole thing about like came out as a woman now, and they appraised him. He was the woman of the year. Like, he was the woman of the year before any of the other women that were women since birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the reason he was saying that, and a lot of people fail to miss it, is the context behind it. He's saying it in a way of like, y'all not noticing that it's because this person's white. But how many other people have we had in the past? And we're talking about years. We're not talking about right now. Yeah. We're talking about for years that already did that in our culture. Mm-hmm. But they've never been recognized in that type of light. Woman of the year, where? What are you talking about?
Yo, imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't have to imagine. I mean? It really fucking happened. But I just, oh man. So
it's crazy. A lot of people really do that.
I think that's where, me personally, I think that's where the line gets a little blurred. Because you have women in this world like Serena Williams, my mother, our mothers, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are women in the world doing great things in their own right. But Caitlyn Jenner is a woman of the year when you weren't even a woman for most of this year or most of your life. Like, you a brand new woman. And I don't mean this in the you re-imaged yourself. Like, no, you are literally a brand new woman with a like. I don't know.
And even with all that, take that all away. How many other people, right, besides her, have already done that? Why was she singled out, or he, whatever they, you know what I'm saying? Why was they the special one to make the community acceptable?
And I've said this before. I know we spoke about this early in the Good Noodles podcast. We spoke about the LGBTQ plus community early on in the podcast. I believe all four of us were there. I could be wrong. But we spoke about it, and I support it. I support people loving who they love. Dave Chappelle actually said one of the most quotable lines I think I've ever heard was, everybody fucks funny to somebody. And I'm like, yo, that's a fucking fact. Like, whatever it is that you're into is what you're into. So I respect that. I believe in it. Like, that's an absolute fact. And it's none of my business what you do in your personal time. I look at you as a person. However you want to identify. If you want me to call you bro, if you want me to call you sis, I will abide by that. I will respect your personal wishes. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the issue isn't with you as a person and who you choosing to love and being transphobic and homophobic and all this other shit. No, that's not it. It's kind of like, well, what about us? What about the shit that we go through that y'all go through, but y'all are not getting it as bad? Well, I can't really say that because there are people being killed because they're gay. There are people getting abused and all this other shit because they're a lesbian or because they're trans or losing jobs and shit like that. So yes, and I'm not saying you're not getting it bad. I'm not comparing the struggles, but the fact that one struggle gets a lot more attention and sympathy than the other is the problem here. Like, why is it that why is that? Literally, that's the question. Why is that? Why is that a thing? Like, that's where the issue lies. You know what I'm saying? So I think, like, his shit, him getting the negative attention is exhibit A.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah. And
It's funny because it's never been, the commentary has never been against that community specifically, but it's more so against the response that community, like you've been saying, that the community gets from the general public, and nobody seems to understand that because people are idiots. So it's like
yeah,
there's not talking about
unfortunately, but that's true.
the trans person in front of them. It's
And
talking about how person X and person Y and everybody else believes that trans person should be treated way more differently than how this black person is being treated. Oh, they because of how they're being treated, they deserve this, but the black person doesn't deserve the same type of treatment because of whatever reason that they already have in their head that has been fed to them by whomever has been influencing them their entire life.
That's a fact.
Yo,
and I also feel like, listen, if we should leave comedy alone. Leave comedy alone. Why are we have an opinion about what a comedian says on his comedic platform and show? Do we not remember Richard Pryor and all that? These white people are sitting there laughing, you know what I'm saying, at all these jokes that are raw and somebody could take offense to it. But guess what? It's comedy. It's comedy. These comedians should be allowed to say literally what the fuck they want to say without there being no issue. Like, why do I have to censor myself? But my job is literally to make fun of everybody.
Yeah,
the issue lies.
And you know what it is. You know what I feel like it is with
this
whole
culture.
he's an
This
icon.
whole culture of like being yeah, but they all icons in their own right. You know what I'm saying?
You know, yeah,
And
but
this whole culture about being sensitive and you shouldn't be saying certain things. When it comes to comedy, leave that shit alone. Why are you watching his shows? It's not the first time he said something that's controversial of that community.
or of any community. Like, where was the outroar? Where was the outroar when he was making fun of black people?
Yo,
Exactly.
but even the craziest part where he literally mentioned that he had a friend that he was really close to. That was a whole man and turned into, well, no, I'm sorry. It was trans, right? It was a trans. So he had a friend that was a trans that killed herself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that story, for him to share that with the people, that's
Because
something,
of
you
the
know,
response of that same of her own community, the negative responses towards her.
Yeah, and it's
because
crazy.
of her own
It's
community,
crazy.
she died, and he did so much for her, but he doesn't know if they even did anything for her.
Yeah, that's
You
a
know
fact.
what I mean?
People are missing the whole point, and that's what always happens.
The whole point.
But people always miss the point, and that's the issue.
It's because it feeds sorry, but it feeds their agenda, that community's agenda, to play the way that they're going about it. Because
For sure.
You
For
said
Let's
agenda.
talk about it.
Okay, let's
absolutely.
What's up, Billy?
Let's be real about it.
Welcome to the Good
Let's
Noodles
be real
Podcast.
about
Let's
it.
talk about it, bro. I'm saying. So
Listen, it's an
you spoke
agenda.
about you spoke about the agenda. So what's the agenda, bro?
The gay agenda.
Well, from my perspective, the agenda is basically, hey, look, if you mention anything negative about us, it's an
We'll
issue.
destroy your career.
We'll do everything in our power to make sure that you no longer can do what you are, getting a bag from or anything. We'll stop it all.
With that.
Because you say one
so
negative thing about us. And it's like, are we not in a free society, supposedly? You know what I'm saying? Are you not able to have, just same way you are in that community, you have your opinion on me being how I am? How come I'm not allowed to have an opinion on you? Is it not my opinion? Am I not allowed to have it?
Facts. Yo, tap in. Even talking about Dave Chappelle in his show, what did he say about the baby, right? That whole shit that happened with the baby. He said something in his show, and now what? The baby was the #1 dude on ratings
on
and
streaming
charts
platforms,
or whatever
for
for mad platforms. And now where he at, bro? Just because it is one group,
bro.
And I'm not gonna lie, because we all minorities, so I'm not going down on my people. You know what I'm saying? But if that's your agenda, if anyone that does anything negative that you don't like, because it comes down to that. It doesn't come down to no rules and regulations. Like, yo, now if I don't like that, all of us have to not like it. It's like, if I don't like it, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and all of my people gonna support me regardless. Like, nah, we gotta have some type of regulation here where we could say, like, yo, like, they're entitled to their opinion. We can't get mad at every single person that says something negative about us. You know what I'm saying?
You know what
But
the issue?
that's the way they take it.
This is the
They
argument.
go to war with everybody.
It's the
What you got,
argument
Ben?
that they always will have is that. Can you hear me? I don't know if y'all can hear me.
No, go ahead,
Y'all
bro.
can hear me. Yo, shut that up. Thank you. The issue, the argument that will always they will always fall back on is that people will use whatever rhetoric has been said in different. Can you stop? That will use whatever rhetoric that has been used in various in all of Chappelle's various stand-ups and whatnot, and say that people are attacking them because of him specifically, or they'll just always come back to that they're being attacked because of this, and it can't just be that there's people that just don't like you. You know what I mean? There's people that don't like black people and attack black people all the time. There's people that don't like Mexican people, attack Mexican people. There's people that attack everybody because they don't like them. You know what I mean? Right. And there's people that make jokes about everybody. But the problem that it always comes down to is that for some reason, this group does not like jokes made about them. And that's why he ended up saying, you know what, I'm not making no more jokes about you guys until we can come to the agreement that we're laughing together and I'm not laughing at you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so riddle me this, because I think that's a good point. And riddle me this, because the answer to this can be taken so extremely, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm not saying that the LGBTQ plus community is like the worst treated demographic of all time, because they're not. What I'm saying is, what demographic of people
tortured right now in China?
Right. Well, what demographic of people have been literally damn near just, I don't want to say discriminated against because that answer is obvious, but literally you are having these people question who they are as a person, and they are less of a person because of not necessarily always what they're born into. Not every person in the community was born into it or born that way or whatever the case may be, but some of these people start having these feelings at a young age, or start having these feelings at whatever age, and literally they go to their place of worship and they get discriminated against. They go to school, they get made fun of. They go home, they get disowned. They go to their friends, they get made fun of, and things like that. So it's I don't even know who to go to as a person. You see these videos, TikTok and social media, it's a thing now. So you see these videos of people coming out, and it's a fucking traumatic experience because some people are more accepting, and they're just oh my God, people are accepting of who I am. Billy can't hide the fact that he's black. We know Billy's black when we look at him. Ben, Josh, Angel, me, I can't hide the fact of who I am and where I'm from. But when it comes to that part of who I am to the core, and who I am as a person, and who I want to love, and what I want to do with my life that makes me happy, and no matter what, people are just fucking destroying you for it. Bro. That kind of creates some sensitivity. Bro, you know what I'm saying? That creates some sensitivity for that person. So I feel that plays a part in it, because now, I can't say my whole life, because not every person in the community has been going through this their whole life, but as long as I can remember, I've been my person, me as a human being, is being questioned because of who I love or what I find attractive. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not saying the LGBTQ plus community is the worst treated demographic of all time. Holocaust, slavery, you know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting at is these people are their whole person, their whole existence is being questioned because of who they are. That creates a lot of sensitivity, and I understand why they're so sensitive. But at the same time, I'm bro, relax. It's just jokes.
But if we're gonna play on that, then let's go back to like you said. I'm black. I can't stop this. Is it not worse for me? Is it not worse for me to be ridiculed against because of something that I have no control over? I'm not saying one is. I'm not saying. Well, I am saying one is worse than the other, but it's damn sure not being gay is not the worst thing you could be in this world.
I can give you a real scientific reason for why this group of people get so angry about certain shit. And I could be looked at crazy for even saying it, but I'm just calling it like I see it, because I kind of know the ins and outs of certain shit that goes on in the world. So for you to go through the sex change in New York City, you have to be diagnosed with the disorder of gender dysphoria. Before anything, you can't even attempt to go through a sex change without being diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Once that happens, they do the change. They start working on whatever, and they start giving you the hormone, whatever the hormone replacement, whether it's testosterone or estrogen. Now, those high levels that are not normally in your body because of what the sex that you were assigned at birth now being introduced into your bloodstream could possibly cause a hormonal imbalance and cause you to realize, to see certain things in a different light than what it might actually seem. However, I could be wrong. You know, I'm not a scientist.
You know what I think.
I'm just a regular nigga.
Like you also got to think about, right? Like I know you're basically getting to the point of like why do they think that they're the worst ones that like why do they think that they got it the worst, right? So I would also put it like, you know, because I'm the type of person, I like to put myself in other people's shoes. You feel me? Like it's the best way for you to understand things. So the same way how like we're going back to the thing you said with Billy. Billy's black, he can't, you know, hide that. You know, it's not something he can control. So is that feeling that Billy has, and that feeling that you know he gets when people, you know, let's say ridicule him or discriminate and all of that and treat him differently because of something that he can't control, that's the same exact feeling that they would get because they're gay. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever they are, if they're trans or whatever, you know, and it's no different than that feeling that Billy has, whether he's black, white, you know, Asian, whatever it is the same feeling. So the same exact way that you would rebel, meaning slavery, Holocaust, you would rebel against that because you're feeling so discriminated against, especially in a mass of people, you know what I'm saying? You're going to fight back. And what I also feel, going back to the whole Dave Chappelle thing, what he was trying to illustrate to people was like, yo, like, why is it, right, that we've been trying to do this, meaning us black people, right? We've been trying to do this for centuries, right? Centuries. And y'all come out of nowhere, right? Because remember, we're using the same exact feeling that we have of we need to fight back against this feeling that we have.
Right.
We've been doing it for centuries, and they came out of nowhere and they're like excelling like that, like out of nowhere. You get what I'm saying? And that's also a point that he was driving. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah,
why are y'all
getting
so
the
good
treatment
at this?
and sensitivity
the
that black
carpet,
people?
Yeah,
there you go.
It's being laid out for them. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? The door is wide open. Like, come, we accept you. Come join the family.
And a lot of people are. I'm telling you, a lot of people miss what these people be talking about because they're not thinking in the type of mentality that the people that's talking is probably, you know, talking. Because like if I'm in the mentality that you're in, then I'm gonna understand the derivative of the context that you're throwing. But if somebody's not thinking in that, they're gonna think of like, wait, what was the joke? No, bro, he was literally saying something really deep right now. And that's why in some of the talks
they stopped listening. They stopped
because they're waiting to laugh at some shit, but they're like, oh, I don't find this funny, so it's just like, I don't know.
Like, what was he really saying there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't speak for the people that had a problem with it because I didn't have a problem with it, so I don't belong to that demographic of people that had a problem with it. So I can't speak. I'm not gonna try to speak for them or anything. I'm just gonna use the notes and comments that I've seen on social media and just take that here, but. It just, you know, like they're calling him transphobic and homophobic and unsensitive and things like that. They're really slandering this man for the things that he said. And I think the people that do say that are kind of missing the point. And I'm going to tell it to you straight up, loyal noodles at home or listeners at home. If you come across this clip or this episode or whatever, and you think that what we're saying is one-sided or jaded or whatever the fuck, then I absolutely invite you to come on to the Good Noodles Podcast and let me know what's up. Like, come talk to us. It's not going to be a debate. We're not going to slander you, like, or anything like that. Like, we're going to have a conversation like we're doing right now. Like, we welcome it. Like,
listen, let's put a disclaimer out there. We are not by any means homophobic, transphobic, any of those phobics of anything. You know what I'm saying? We love everybody. We mess with everybody. We have friends who are in the community.
I hate everybody.
Hold on, Billy. We don't mess with everybody, but you know.
I hate everybody.
Pause.
We social. We social.
Billy does not speak for Kenneth Scott. Kenneth is for everybody.
Say you're.